What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be working on a 2015 Mini Cooper S. Now this black Mini Cooper S here, guys, you can see probably looks halfway decent minus that little panel right there. Just from doing a walk around, there is a lot of deeper scratches on this paint right here. There's a lot of flaws and imperfections. We got some bird drop etchings. There's a couple things we're going to be covering in today's video. One of those being a little later on in the video is a new coating applicator that I am currently testing out and seeing how I like it. So far I've used it on a few different vehicles. I really like it, so we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth and showing you guys here firsthand on this video here. We're also going to briefly talk about restoring the plastic trim on here. You guys can see there's a lot of dry, dull, hazy plastic trim. This car is 4 years old now. It's probably never seen any kind of treatment or anything like that. So we're going to be restoring the plastic trim. We have a full video I just did recently on restoring the plastic fender wells of the Viper ACR. I'll put a link in the description below if you guys want to go ahead and take a look at that. Then we're also going to be talking about different tape. I'm currently have these two different pieces of tape right here for masking off this vehicle. We have a lot of plastic trim we need to mask off, some rubber seals, some other little intricate areas and delicate areas that we need to make sure we protect. Currently using two different pieces of tape here. I'm going to be doing a full in-depth video here in the near future talking about these two pieces of tape. Essentially, the yellow one here you see is about 3 times the price of the green one. And from my testing so far that I've seen, they're pretty much the same tape. One's just ungodly expensive. So more to come on this in a future video, so be sure to stay tuned for that, guys. So now with that being said, guys, let me run around the car real quick, show you what we're against, and then we'll get started on the detail. Alright guys, I wanted to check in with you real quick. We are making really good progress on the Mini Cooper right here. We've got all the top parts done. We're on the sides now, car's up in the air. We did a little test spot back here on the exhaust tip. You can see some pretty good improvement back there on the exhaust tip. I kind of wanted to, once it got up in the air, I got the itch to play around with the exhaust tip, so I want to do a nice 50-50 there for you guys before and after. Back here, just doing a little bit of testing here on the rear bumper with basically this whole area right here was resprayed, and this quarter panel of the car was, if I remember right, it was in a little fender bender in a parking lot where someone backed into my client's son's vehicle. He came back to the vehicle, and fortunately the back area right here was kind of smashed in. So he had this resprayed right here. It's gassed out. So here's another thing, guys. If you ever have a vehicle repainted, or your client, if you're a detailer and your client say, hey, I just got my rear bumper repainted, or whatever the case may be, make sure you give it, talk to the painter first off, but typically it's somewhere between 30 to 90 days before it is, basically the paint's fully gassed out, where it's safe to, one, polish on, depending on the kind of polishes and stuff like that. Some are body shop safe. So if they are body shop safe, you're good to go to polish on it. But more importantly, you do not want to put any kind of protection down here, like say, i.e. wax, polymer sealants, or a ceramic coating, or even clear bra for that matter, until the paint has fully gassed out. So back to work for me, guys. All right, as you guys just saw, we did a before and after shot on these two doors right here. This door and this door is a pretty massive improvement, I would say. You can see right there. Basically, it's a pad and product combination. And then the last pass I slow my speed down, release the pressure, and kind of helps refine that finish quite a bit. So you can see there's a little bit of haze and streaking in here. That's from me not removing the compound residue fully before prepping it. So I still have to prep the surface on here, guys. It hasn't been prepped or anything like that yet. We will roll the glamour shots towards the end of the video here, so you guys want to definitely stay tuned for that. We're gonna be moving on here now to the right rear quarter panel. This has actually been resprayed, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the bumper. This is kind of like in an accident. Someone backed into it at a parking lot, and you can see it's very dull and hazy. It looks like they started polishing here, but then they were like, you know what, we're done, we're not gonna do any more. And then it left a lot of sanding marks and a lot of haze. We can see a massive difference between this panel and this one right here. So we're gonna go ahead and tackle that now and see how that turns out. As you guys just saw, there's a pretty big improvement from where it was sanded and things like that from the body shop. Now again, there's still some sanding marks in here, there's still some deeper scratches. We are limited, unfortunately, to what we can do right here to really make it look proper. We need to wet sand it, compound it, polish it, but we are limited on how much clear coat is on there. So unfortunately, we can't make this look proper how it really should look. But for what it is, I think it's a pretty big improvement. It's a daily driver for my client's son, so it's not like this is a show car that needs to look perfect or anything like that. Again, to make it look perfect though, it would need to be resprayed basically, and then sanded, compounded, and polished. But for what it is, you guys, big improvement. So we're moving on to the rest of the vehicle now. Alright guys, just finished up the paint correction process right here. The paint turned out really good in my opinion. The paint is on the more medium / soft side, so I think it's probably part of the reason why we were able to achieve such great results for just doing a level 1 paint correction here. Now before we move on to the preparation and ceramic coating phase, I want to bring you guys in here and show you guys the top of the vehicle. Now there are a lot of deeper etchings from bird droppings, from the little orangish yellow colored specks. Those are bee pollen actually that lands on the paint. Those are actually acidic also and will etch into the paint. So I'm gonna bring you guys in here and show you guys even after a paint correction, they're still in there because they've basically, here's the top of the surface and you have this etching where when you leave something on there for so long, it continues to eat away at the paint. So whenever you see a bird dropping, something like that, you want to remove it as quick as possible. So what I do, like in my personal cars or my detailing, I have everything already ready to go there. But in personal vehicles, I have a little mini detail kit, which I may do a video on a little later on, of just some of the things I need in there. So if I'm going out to a car show, or I'm just driving around my daily driver car, bird poops on it, you can basically clean it up quickly and minimize the amount of etching that happens. So I'll bring you guys in here, show you guys that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the coating. All right, as you guys can see right here, this is a nice deep etching from a bird dropping that was allowed to sit there for quite a while. This may potentially be able to be removed just with some sanding. Unfortunately, the clear coat paint on here is very thin, so we're very limited to what we can do
as far as removing that bird drop etching. So we pretty much just have to live with it at this point. So if you guys can see here now, this is the bee pollen dropping that I was talking about. And this is right here, is etched in there. I'm gonna try to get a microscope, put it on there so you guys can see a picture of this, how badly it's actually etched in there, but it is pretty bad. So another one here on the back part of the car, guys, you can see this one's pretty deep as well. Sanding may take care of this one, but again, clear coat is not thick enough to sand that down and then polish it back out.
All right, guys, I'm moving on. We're gonna be prepping the surface with the CarPro's eraser, and then we're gonna be coating the surface with the Miyabi coat by Kamikaze. Now, this is a new applicator I've been trying out here for the last probably 4 or 5 coating jobs. And this applicator right here, I've been really happy with because it actually bends and moves. So with the traditional foam block and the applicator, it doesn't move quite like this right here. So this allows me to, in my opinion, potentially not to miss spots when you have very curved angles. Sometimes I've noticed I have to go back over it again, even though you're doing the crisscross pattern. You got to really be careful because the foam pad is very stiff, and with this one right here, you can see it's quite a bit more maneuverable. So so far I've been pretty happy with these guys. I'm going to continue to use them. It is double-sided, so if you want to, I guess you could use it twice. Personally, I'm gonna use it one side and then I toss it out. They're cheap enough where you can do that. But anyways, let's move on to prepping it and coating it. Alright guys, we're just about done with the car here. We're going to check in for any high spots with the vehicle. We have one light right here. However, I have a new light. I've been playing around with doing some testing that I think works even better than this guy right here for checking for high spots. So we're going to go ahead, run around the car real quick, look for some high spots to make sure everything is perfectly level, especially on a black car. It stands out like a magnifying glass. You're going to see anything stand out more so on a black car than any other color. So we need to make sure everything is perfectly level. Then we're going to go ahead and call it a night. We'll be back tomorrow. If you guys notice here, first of all, there's still tape on here. That is to mask off all the plastics. Tomorrow we'll be back to remove all that tape right there. Then we'll be restoring all that plastic trim with solution finish and then doing a little interior detail touch up on it. So let's go ahead and find those high spots. All right guys, before we wrap up the video here, a couple things I want to cover. I get questions from time to time, and that is which pad, which product am I using on this specific vehicle right here. So for this Mini Cooper S, what I am using, or what I used, was a combination of the microfiber cutting pad by Lake Country, as well as the foam cutting pad here again by Lake Country. And we use the Griot's Garage Fast Correction Cream. So with this specific vehicle right here, that's just kind of what I use. It seemed to be the best. And again, you want to do a test spot to find out what's going to work the best on the whole vehicle right here. This is what worked the best for me. But what's important is you guys can have this exact same products. You guys can have the same tools and equipment, but to achieve these same results, it's about technique. So what I did with technique on this specific vehicle right here is, you know, the back you guys saw right there was really bad. There was some bad sanding marks and a really poor repaint job from some body shop that did not refine that where it should have been. That's where we need a little bit extra cutting to come into play, and that's where we use the microfiber cutting pad right here. And then of course we refine it with the foam cutting pad right there. So overall, the vehicle though, we use the foam cutting pad pretty much throughout most of it. I would say probably 90% of the vehicle we use that. And some of the techniques that I use is when you're first going down and you're cutting down on the paint, I'm gonna apply a bit more pressure on the machine. And then as I'm doing my last pass or two, I am releasing that pressure and just putting just a minimal amount of pressure on the paint to kind of help refine it, because you don't want to leave haze behind, especially when you're doing a level 1 paint correction. So basically refining it, checking my work, make sure everything looks good. If there's too much haze behind, I will take and I will just make another 1 or 2 light passes across that panel to refine it. All right guys, that's gonna just about do it here for the video. Now the Mini Cooper right here turned out really nice. I'm sure my client's gonna love the results here we were able to achieve for him on the car. Now this was a level 1 paint correction. We weren't going for perfection. We had a budget to work with, things like that. But no doubt this was a major improvement. We're gonna roll those glamour shots here in just a quick second for you guys. But first, if you guys are new to the channel here, I wanna welcome you. And if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that big old thumbs up right there. Really helps me, I appreciate that, guys. Also, if you guys are new to the channel here and you guys have not already done so, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell notification so every time we drop a new video, you guys will be notified. We're dropping 2 new videos a week. We're gonna be doing product reviews, more detailing videos like this, how-to videos, and probably even some business talk here in the near future. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Until next time, guys, talk to you soon.